So should we start? How many participants? Students, please tell your friends to join fast. And have you done your work which I have given to you? Few numericals I have given. Only 7 students have joined. You had class from 2 to 3? 3 question was not solved. How many students joined the previous class? Which question was unsolved? Z transforms question. Have you referred any book? Okay, this question you are not able to simplify. That question is very simple. It's the last. Just read it out. So students have all joined. What you have to find in that question? H of n and x of n were given to you, or y of n was given to you. Not a single student was able to simplify that question. So we will start first with LTI systems. Then we will continue with the solutions of the problems. I think I have given you answer also. Yes, ma'am, but okay, you are unable to solve. So write down the steps. I will just dictate the steps. Hai na? First, I think y of n was given to you. Please type it fast so that our time should not waste. You have to find the input x of n. Clear? So what was the first step in this? Okay. So what we will do, we will first find out h of z and y of z. How we will find out h of z? H of n is given to you taking z transform of h of z. So z transform will be, it's very easy. Z transform of h of z will be equal to 1 plus 2z inverse plus 3 to the power is 3z to the power minus 2. Similarly, you will find out y of z. Then h of z is equal to, we all know, transfer function is the ratio of output upon input. Y of z upon x of z. So we can find out x of z, which is written as x of, I am writing it in the chat box, x of z is equal to y of z upon h of z, and we know this term y of z and h of z. So dividing this to 1 plus z inverse y of z में हमारी कितनी टर्म्स है, जितने हमारे इम्पल्स रिस्पॉन्स गिवन थे, y of n 1 2 3 4 5 terms were given in the y of n expression. So at y of z we are having 5 terms and h of z we are having 3 terms. Is it clear? Dividing this, you will divide this and you will get the answer. After dividing the quotient will be your result. Remainder will be 0 over here and your quotient will be your solution to that problem. So x of z will be equal to, I am dictating, you can write the answer, 1 minus z inverse plus z to the power minus 2. So you will get 3 terms for x of z. Now x of z you have to find the input sequence x of n. In the question it was mentioned input sequence x of n, not x of z. So again what I will do, I will convert x of z into x of n by applying inverse z transform formula. So applying inverse z transform, you will get x of n, and the value of x of n is 1, minus 1 and 1. Is it clear now? Z transform of which of n is h of z? Yes. N is your original domain. We will transfer n into z domain, time domain to frequency domain. Or for discrete system, for digital systems we are doing. So is it clear? Okay, okay, chalo. So we will continue with our next topic. Again, students are leaving. What we are doing? Chalo. So linear shift invariant system or linear time invariant systems. What do you mean by linear systems? That also we will discuss today. And see, major difference between linear time and shift is that one is used for continuous system and other is used for digital systems. The linear time invariant systems are very easy to pronounce day by day. So in routine we used to say LTI systems, but whenever we are discussing digital system discrete signals, then we should say it as linear shift invariant systems. Clear? So first I will have a just brief of what do we mean by this linear systems. A very basic system, DSP, all the DSP processors will have this kind of system. This systems means it should have the property of homogeneity and additivity. Linear systems should have property of homogeneity and additivity. If it is having any one of them, then it is not a linear system. Third property to be a linear system is shift invariance. Linear system shift invariance. Shift variant or shift invariant or time invariant means is not a strict requirement for linearity, but it is a mandatory property for most DSP techniques. When you see the term linear system used in DSP, you should assume it includes shift invariance. Clear? So, which DSP processor we will discuss? We will discuss linear shift invariant processor. These three properties form the mathematics of how linear system theory is defined and used. Which three properties? Linearity. Linearity includes your homogeneity and additivity, and then shift invariance. All these three properties form a DSP system. So we will see with the example, with the diagram, what do we mean by homogeneity. So homogeneity means that a change in the input signal's amplitude Students, please tell your friends to join at time so that won't disturb your class. Because again, they are asking for the permission, I have to admit them. So, what do you mean by homogeneity? Input signal's amplitude result in a corresponding change in the output signal amplitude. If there is any change in the input signal's amplitude, output signal amplitude should be changed. That is homogeneity. In mathematical terms, if an input signal fx of n results in an output signal of y of n, this input y system, the system could be only linear system, shift invariant system, homogeneous system, additive system, any system could be there, and here I am talking about homogeneity. So if there is any change in the amplitude of x of n, then y of n should also be changed. This is shown over here. Results in an output signal of y of n, and input of kx of n results in an output of ky of n for any input signal and constant k. Is it clear? So this figure shows you homogeneity. Initially, I am having a system with input x of n, y of n. Clear? Then I am having a system. This input is multiplied by k. This input is multiplied by k, kx of n. Here, output will be also multiplied by k. So this is the definition of homogeneity. Is it clear? Very basic property, and I think in signals and systems you have studied all these things. Clear? Now we will give you very beautiful example in day-to-day life in your practical laboratories. Also, you uses resistors, current flows through the resistor, how the current flows through the resistor by Ohm's law. A very simple resistor provides a good example of both homogeneous and non-homogeneous systems. How it can, a single resistor can give you homogeneity as well as non-homogeneous systems. So how it can give you? If the input to the system is a voltage across the resistor, we all know a simple basic circuit. If you consider a voltage source is connected to a resistor, so what it will do, current will start flowing through the circuit, and through Ohm's law, if the voltage is increased or decreased, there will be a corresponding increase or decrease in the current. We know Ohm's law, it is V is equals to IR. V is equals to IR. So R is equals to V by I. So current is flowing through the resistor. Voltage produced is V of T, and the output from the system is the current through the resistor I of T. So V and I are directly proportional. As voltage increases, current will also increase through the device. So V is equals to IR. So is it clear? So this provides you a homogeneous system. A very basic example of resistor. Now again we will consider a system when the input signal is the voltage across the resistor. Input signal is the voltage across the resistor V of T. But the output signal is the power. Here what we are considering output as a power. P is equal to I square R, V square by R. So is the power being dissipated in the resistor. P of T. Since power is proportional to the square of the voltage. Power is proportional to the square of the voltage if the input signal is increased by a factor of 2. Are you getting my point? Power is proportional to the square of the voltage. We all know equation of power across the resistor. The output signal is increased by a factor of 4. So is it a homogeneous system or not? No, it is not a homogeneous system. Hence, we can say that the system is not linear. Because to have a linearity property, a system should possess both additivity and homogeneity. So if one of the property is not there, then that system is not linear. It is a non-linear system. Is it clear? Next, we will discuss the property of additivity. This I am discussing a very basic concept because numericals will be asked on different properties of LTI LSI systems. LTI or LSI, it's one and the same thing, but while writing in your copies, you have to always write linear shift invariant system. Clear? So additivity means if we are adding two signals, x1 of n, consider a system where an input of x1 of n produces an output of y1 of n. Again, a different input is given to the system x2 of n, which produces another output y2 of n. The system is said to be additive if an input this results in output of this. For all possible input signals, then it is said that the output is an additive of input signals. So this is the example shown to you. If this is my x1 of n input signal, for this my output is this y1 of n. How I get the output? You got this diagram, meaning of this diagram. x1 of n in the input signal is passed through the DSP system. x1n into h of n, its transfer function is h of z. H is the transfer function, small h is the impulse response. X1n into h of 1 of n will give you y1 of n. Similarly, and if x2 of n is this, y2 of n is this, then I will add these two signals, x1 plus x2 of n. This is the addition of two signals, and output will also be addition of these two signals. Is it clear? A system is said to be additive if added signals pass through it without interfacing. Is it clear? Now there are many examples of non-additive system. Mixer stage in a radio transmitter, two signals are present: an audio signal that contains the voice or music and a carrier wave that can propagate through space when applied to an antenna. The two signals are added and applied to a non-linearity such as a p-n junction diode. This results in the signals merging to form a third signal, a modulated radio wave capable of carrying the information over great distances. So such system is p-n junction device is a non-linear system. The two signals are added and applied to a non-linearity such as p-n junction diode. This results in the signal merging to form a third signal, which is not exact result of adding the carrier wave with the original signal. So this is the example of a non-additive circuit, which is a mixer stage of a radio transmitter. Now shift invariance. What do you mean by shift invariance? It means that a shift in the input signal will result in nothing more than an identical shift in the output signal. We will see the example. In more formal terms, if an input signal of x of n results in an output of y of n, an input signal of x of n plus s, this s is shifted, the original signal, results in an output of this for any input signal and any constant s, then such system is known as shift invariant system. Is it clear? Shift invariant. That means the time delay produced in the input, that same time delay will be produced at the output signal. So there is no time difference. So that system is known as shift invariant system. By adding a constant s to the independent variable n, the waveform can be advanced or retarded in the horizontal direction. See this, we have seen the effects of shifting and scaling of signals. In the horizontal direction means on the independent variable x-axis. For example, when s is equal to 2, the signal is shifted left by 2 samples. When s is equal to -2, the signal is shifted right by 2 samples. Right hand shifting and left hand shifting. So we will see the example. If this is my x of n input signal, okay students, are you getting? Can you give me more examples of additivity and homogeneity property or linear systems? Any day-to-day life example in your laboratories? Have you faced this thing? No one is replying. Are you attentive in the class? I'm not getting this thing. Okay, now I will ask any one of the participant. Okay, Shubham, switch on your mic. and explain me the system. Yes, Shubham, I'm waiting. Yes, please speak out, Shubham. What is the system, this diagram? Explain me this diagram. See, I think students are not at all attentive in the class. Where is Shubham? Are you able to listen? Yes, Shubham, speak out. Explain me this diagram which is shown in front of your screen. Now, in all the classes, you have to speak. I will allow one of the student, I will choose one of the student, and he or she has to answer my query. Yes, Shubham, explain me this diagram. It's very easy. Try. Unmute your mic.
Uh, when we
Yes, very
pass
good.
this signal through a certain system, then uh, we notice a
Shift.
uh, variation, ma'am, variation
Okay.
in that signal. And
Again, speak out, Shubham. I'm not getting.
ma'am, I was saying that when we pass a certain signal through the system, we
Mm-hmm.
see a variation in that particular signal.
Mm-hmm.
When I mean it shifts a little bit from its position, actual position,
Mm-hmm.
and
So, how is shift invariant? When the same change exists, which is given to input, exists at the output, then that system is known as shift invariant. And what do you mean by shift variant system? If I am giving S delay to the input side, but output is having some another delay or it is not delayed, then it is known as shift variant system. Is it clear?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, Shubham, unmute your mic. Mute your mic. So, students, please be attentive in the class because from now onwards in all the class, you have to answer my queries because you all don't have any kind of queries. So this is shift invariant system. Is it clear? Shift invariance is important because it means the characteristics of the system do not change with time or whatever the independent variable happens to be. Most of the systems you encounter will be shift invariant. This is fortunate because it is difficult to deal with systems that change their characteristics while in operation. Are you getting this? Is very important property because if any kind of signal is passed through the DSP system, after certain amount of time, if the characteristics of that signal changes, then what will happen? That output will be changed and we can't use that signal, output signal, for the application which is required for that signal. So shift invariant is a very important property, and most of the signals possesses this property. Most of the system possesses this property. So this is a very good example given over here. Imagine that you have designed a digital filter to compensate for the degrading effects of a telephone transmission line. We all know what are filters. Your filter makes the voices sound more natural and easier to understand. Surprisingly, if winter season comes and you find the characteristics of the telephone line have changed with temperature. Getting? In normal days, my transmission lines are very good. Whatever voice is generated, it is very clear. At the receiver side also, you can hear it very easily. But as the season changes, the characteristics of the telephone line change with temperature. Your compensation filter is now mismatched and doesn't work specially well. This situation may require a more sophisticated algorithm that can adapt to changing conditions. So this type of system is my shift variant system. Is it clear? Due to temperature conditions, due to certain number of years, the property has changed. Now what will happen? The voice is not clear. You will not have more natural sound effects. So the property has changed. Whatever I'm saying just now at the receiver side, it will be coming after 5 seconds delay, after milliseconds delay. So the properties have changed and the system has changed. So it is not a shift invariant system. It will be a shift variant system. So these three properties configure a system which is known as linear shift invariant system. So basics we have studied. Now we will focus on the advanced things of this topic. So linear shift invariant system. Many physical systems can be modeled as a continue with this only. I have prepared some new slides also. Okay. So many physical systems can be modeled as LSI systems. Very general signals can be represented as linear combination of delayed impulses by the principle of superposition. Superposition means the principle of linearity. If I want to prove a system is a linear, I can prove it by the principle of superposition theorem. Superposition theorem means the property of additivity and homogeneity both should exist. That is superposition. So discrete time LTI systems, the convolution sum. Representation of discrete time signals in terms of impulses. These are my impulse response of a system. A discrete time signal can be decomposed into a sequence of individual impulse. This is my example. Now how I can write this? This figure is given to you. Now I have to write its impulse response. So x of n is equal to x. It is starting from x of minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, x of 0. So this is my x of 0 del of n. You can see x of 0. Whatever value of x of 0 will be multiplied to the del of n. X of 1 del of n minus 1 means n is equals to 1. So this is my impulse. Is it clear? This is my x of n minus 1. Del of n minus 2, del of n minus 3, del of n minus 4, del of n plus 1, n plus 2, n plus 3, n plus 4. These are the signals. Or in a compact form, how you can write? You can write like this. Is it clear? X of n is equal to summation x of k del of n minus k. Del of n minus k. This corresponding to the representation of an arbitrary sequence as a linear combination of shifted unit impulse shifted unit impulse where the weights in the linear combinations are x of k. Equation 2.2. This equation is called the shifting property of the discrete time signal. Next, discrete time unit impulse response and the convolution sum. Let h of n be the response of the LTI system to be shifted unit impulse del of n minus k. Then from the superposition property for a linear system, what I can write, x of n is my input, h of n is my system's response or the ASP system response. So multiplication of x of k, h of n will give you me the output y of n. But is it possible to multiply the things in the time domain directly? Yes or no? Why Shubham is no? Is it possible to directly multiply? Yes or no? No. So to directly multiply, what I will do, I will convolute the inputs and then I can multiply it. And or what I can do, I can transfer this time domain into frequency domain signal and then I will directly multiply those signals. So this equation is very important. Y of n is equal to summation x of k h of k of n. If the linear system is time invariant, then the responses to the time shifted unit impulses are all time shifted version of the same impulse responses. H k of n is equal to h of 0 n minus k, shifted version of pulses. Therefore, the impulse response h of n is equal to h0 of n of an LTI system. Characterizes the system completely. This is not the case of linear time invariant time varying system. One has to specify all the impulse responses hk of n to characterize the system. So LTI system equation, this you have to remember. This is very important equation. Y of n is equal to summation x of k h of n minus k. This result is referred to as a convolution sum or superposition sum, and the operation on the right-handed side of the equation is known as the convolution of the sequence x of n and h of n, and output is y of n. So the convolution operation is usually represented as symbolically as this sign, x of k convolution h of n. Clear? Now calculation of convolution sum. This is the example for convolution. You should know how to convolve two signals graphically or mathematically, anything you can use. So this is h of n, this is x of n. Input and system response is given to you. System with impulse response h of n is given to you. You have to multiply this output response based on equation 2.5, the above equation of convolution. The equation which we have seen, x of k convolution h of n, and this equation, you will get this thing, x of k h of n minus k. Continuously you will multiply the signals to get the output. See graphically what we do, x of n domain is converted to k, x of k we will draw, h of k we will draw. Then how many times? Then h of minus k, that means replica of h of k. Then h of n minus k signal will be drawn. Then you will shift the signal and you will multiply every time x of k into h of n minus k. And you at final you will get this equation 0.5 h of n plus 2h n minus 1. This is drawn individually x of 0. What will happen? We will vary this k from 0 to 1. 0 to 1. or 0 to 2. 0 to 1 we will vary x of k, x of 0, h of n minus 0, then x of 1, h of n minus 1, and you will get the output over here. So this is the impulse response of the output. After multiplying, y of n signal is this. These are the convolution steps. There are many convolution examples. We will discuss it later on. See, here we are just discussing for the discrete time domain, not for the continuous domain signals. Now, very important property of LTI systems. Next heading is properties of LSI systems. LSI systems can be characterized completely by their impulse response. The properties can also be characterized by their impulse response. First property is commutative property of LSI system. What do you see in mathematics? You have studied these properties, this laws, commutative law. Why again and again students are leaving, joining? That distracts the class. Commutative property of LSI systems. The property of convolution in both continuous and discrete time is called commutative operation. So what happens in commutative operation? It's shown in the figure. You can change the order of inputs. X of n into h of n is equal to h of n into x of n. Here it is shown here first x multiplied by h. Then in second diagram it is shown h multiplied by x. Both will give you the same result. So this is for discrete time domain. This is for discrete time domain. This one is for discrete domain. And this is for continuous domain, and which is not required. Okay. So commutative property means interchanging of input. Is it clear? Next is your distributive property. We all know x into h1 plus h2 will be equal to x into h1 plus x into h2. This is a diagram that means if parallelly the systems are connected, you can add those systems. Is it clear? Distributive system. X h1 plus x h2 or x into h1 plus h2. Clear? Then associative property. The order of multiplication can be changed. X h1 into h2 will give you y, or x into h1 first multiplied then multiplied by h2 will give you the same output. So that is my associative property. Is it clear? This is the example shown to you. So students, any doubt? Because we will wind up the class now. In next class, we will discuss next topics. 9 students have joined. Aditi, Avantika, Charu, Jaya, Charu, then Jaya, Pratibha, then Ritika, Sakshi. Sakshi, why you leave the class many times? And Shubham. Okay. But are you able to understand the class today? That's why, that's why I'm saying, because you are leaving many times, network issues are there, so it is not easy to understand the class properly. Chalo, other students, any problem, anything you want to ask? So tomorrow we are having next class. We'll continue with this topic, LTI system, and within 2 days we will finish up this unit. So you are having any doubt, we will simplify, clarify it in the last class. Please collect your doubts because numerical will be there in your exam. It is much more numerical as compared to theoretical. So you have to practice lot of numericals. Google Classroom, I have shared you the books. So topics related with this syllabus, you have to simplify those numericals. So is it clear? So we'll stop the class. Thank you, students. Take care of yourself.